I, Malak the Maleficent, have seen fit to sponsor this pitiful podcast myself. As you know, Malak the Maleficent, who is me, is the most powerful, excellent, and handsome wizard in all the land. He is guaranteed to be 100% better than that Victor von Wolfhausen Smythe, and not at all genocidal. Malak the Maleficent, for a better tomorrow. Briefly.
All the tabletop role-playing news, we aim to amuse and we aim to enthuse. And Morrus's unofficial tabletop RPG
Hello, and welcome to Morrus's unofficial tabletop RPG talk. I, as always, am Russ, aka Morrus, or Morrus, aka Russ, and with me this week is...
Peter Coffey from the Southampton Guild Role Players. Russ, as ever, it's absolutely amazing to be here, although I must say Southampton is very, very soggy.
It is a bit wet.
It is. But a man who is, I hear, no stranger to rain has also joined us.
Yes, so for his second appearance on the show, because you'll remember that he was here a couple of weeks ago, but we had... Are we calling you the full barrel, or just we're just going to go with Dominic McDowall? Which do you prefer?
I've cut it down to just the McDowall actually a while ago now, just because of the difficulty of fitting a double-barrel name into books.
Yeah, or onto books, yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, or onto because you need a special fold-out section. It's a real problem. Struggle's real.
So we've got Dominic McDowall, the head honcho over at Cubicle 7, back with us. If you remember the podcast that we did a couple of weeks ago, the entire podcast was kind of beset by technical gremlins on all three of our parts. Yes. Dom's mic wasn't working properly. Peter managed to mute his mic for a while, partway through the show.
After I got the damn thing started.
And my PC rebooted itself twice during the process, so it was...
Twice?
Yeah. One time I actually managed to hide it from you and just... I don't think you realised it was going on.
No, not at all.
That was acting, that was.
Well, there is absolutely no beginning to my technical expertise. So,
to be fair, the same goes for us as well. We just rely on Daryl, our sound engineer, to tell us what to do, and we just assume he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah,
I think that's wise.
Yes.
Yeah. Right, should we do some RPG news?
Brilliant idea. We should.
Yes. It being an RPG news show, sounds good. And we've got a bunch of Sigmar news, but I think we'll save that until later in the show, because we've got something about combat in Sigmar, and we've got a nice big Sigmar map as well, which has just come out. We can save that until we jump into the Sigmar stuff later in the show. But for the moment, we've got some D&D digital games news.
Digital games?
Digital games. So there was a investor presentation over at New York Toy Fair by Wizards of the Coast CEO Chris Cox.
Right.
At least there was a whole bunch of people, but he was on it. It was a big long event, and they talked about all their brands like Transformers and Monopoly, and Hasbro does a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So D&D just kind of featured into it a little bit about an hour into the show.
Yeah.
Into the thing. But what they did announce was that, and there's not a lot of information here, there are 7 digital D&D games currently in development.
Yeah,
with at least one coming each year for the next 7 years.
Josh?
Wow. That's quite a lead time on some of them.
Yeah. I suppose, I don't know how long it takes to, like Baldur's Gate 3 or something like that. I assume it takes years.
So basically, if it's not ready in 3 weeks, we should lead an outrage mob to their
That is
websites.
Basically how the internet works, I believe. Yeah,
excellent.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, if I can't instantly gratified, I just don't want to know. That's why I always play a fighter in D&D, because it's like, I want to hit things out.
Those are the rules of the internet. Unfortunately, there isn't any other information, really. It was literally just that. And digital, I suppose... I mean, they didn't say video games, they said digital games, so I guess that could mean like Facebook games and mobile games and stuff as well. There's big things like Baldur's Gate 3, I guess. I mean, it's all conjecture.
Yeah, maybe there's some sequels, who knows?
Oh, maybe, I don't know. Yeah. It's impossible to know.
Exciting stuff, though.
Yeah. Did you guys see the Baldur's Gate 3 footage that appeared last night?
I think I'm the only person who hasn't. Everyone's been telling me how amazing it is.
I've just been absolutely rampacked busy today and last night, so I'm also completely oblivious.
So, like you just said, it's based, I think, on the Divinity Original Sin engine. Now, I've never played Divinity Original Sin, so I couldn't tell you what that means, but I've certainly seen a lot of people online saying, this looks like Divinity Original Sin, so I guess it looks similar, I guess. I don't know. But they did confirm it's definitely using the D&D 5th edition rule set pretty accurately. So it's not just, it's not just a sort of a wink and a nod to it. They're going full in with it.
Nice.
At the risk of betraying my ignorance, what's the setup for Divinity? I still haven't stumbled out of Elder Scrolls. So,
So basically with Divinity you have like isometric, I think, where you're looking down in the third person you have like a little group of your people.
So it's Baldur's Gate style. That's the original Baldur's Gate style.
Yeah, it made perfect sense to me when they proposed it, because it's like this will all work together and so forth. So yeah, and then the characters can there's sort of an invisible grid which they move across, and that yes, sorry, I just had a quick Google of it. Yes, I see what they're talking about with the character creation engine. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's an hour and a bit of stuff. Let's have a look.
It's long. Yeah, it is long.
Yeah.
There's about an hour. There's about half an hour of talking in it, and about an hour of gameplay footage.
Yeah. So I've just jumped to about 18 and a half minutes through the video, and yeah, you're looking down upon your characters. When you decide, you sort of have your mouse goes across the thing. Everything's all very click based. And it will tell you how far you're moving, and that's how many meters you move. Although I'm sure they'll probably convert it to feet or something.
So is it turn based, or is it turn with pause, or is it real time? How does the interface work?
So in a similar fashion to Pathfinder 2, who've actually explicitly modelled it, what you have is you have sort of an exploration phase, and then you have combat. So during exploration, it's like all very free-form, you just point and click, and then everyone just barrels over there. But when you start combat, it then basically rolls for initiative. I'm never 100% sure of the exact mechanics. And then from that you have a number of action points which will be affected by how fast you are or how heavily you've invested in that, and that will let you do things. So if you want to do a giant spell, that's going to cost you 6 action points. If you want to walk over and hit a dude with a sword, that's maybe 2 free action points. And the more fancy you get, the more exciting it gets. And yeah, so just having all these special abilities, I could easily see how they'd model extra attack, multi-classing. Yeah, no, it's a really good fit.
Awesome.
So there's you can create characters with 6 classes, which are fighter, wizard, rogue, ranger, cleric, and warlock. And each of those has 2, except for the cleric, which has 3 subclasses.
Makes sense.
There's 15 races to choose from.
Nice.
So you've got your usual elves, dwarves, and humans and stuff. There's also Githyanki, drow, tieflings, obviously, and a vampire spawn, apparently, is one of the choices.
Oh, that's novel. I like it. Okay. I guess it depends what they had hanging around, because in the games for Original Sin 2, I think the elves in that were quite flesh-eaty, bloodthirsty sorts, which isn't a spoiler. That's in character creation.
Yeah, well, these will be D&D elves, not.
Yeah, well, no, but that means that they've got all the code and stuff written. So it's basically they're reskinning stuff that they have and probably changing it around to make it a better fit to the rule set.
I guess.
But it was not entirely dissimilar to begin with.
There's an opening cinematic sequence as well, which you can watch. It's about 1.5 minutes long, and it's amazing. It's got this mind flayer ship, ship thing, flying along, and it's being chased by a bunch of dragons. And the dragons are breathing fire at it and ripping tentacles off of it and stuff.
Yeah.
And then it teleports, and the dragons teleport after it, and it's like, that should be a movie. They should make the D&D movie. That's amazing.
You'll have to excuse me. I'm busy taking frantic notes for my game. I'm running again on Wednesday, so I really need to up the stakes, I feel.
So I don't actually know when this is coming out. There's going to be a early access thing this year, though, apparently. Sometime this year. But it won't be the full game, and I think it's one of those sort of alpha builds or something where people bug test it or something like that. Is that what early access means? In video game parlance?
You get to play it sooner, but it's really buggy, and all your bug reports may well change the game.
Yeah.
It's I suppose it's cheaper than paying for quality testers, so yeah.
Yeah, I'll wait for the actual thing then, I guess.
Nah, I'll probably wait myself, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to experience it has the creators intended.
Should we talk about Vampire the Masquerade quickly?
Oh, yes, we should.
Because you can now get the PDF of Modicus's Fall of London. So the book itself is coming out in March, which is, what's it now? It's the 28th, isn't it? It's pretty much March.
We have the 29th of February, so it's only March on Sunday, but yeah.
Have we got a 29th this year? Is it a leap year?
We do.
Oh, thank goodness for that. I've got an extra day.
Fall of London, isn't that one of the fantastic Mr. Peregrine's projects?
Did Andy do that one?
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So there we go. Oh, well, we've got quite a few people, actually. So we've got Clara H. Herbal, Kira McGran, Mike Nudd, Andy Peregrine, Hilary Sklar, and Steffi Devon, sorry.
Oh, fantastic.
And developed by Matthew Dawkins. So they've got quite a big
great
team
lineup.
Yeah.
Apparently it's set in 2012. How interesting.
Is it? Oh, yeah. So it is. Yeah, Fall of London is a chronicle book set in 2012's London. That's right before London falls to the Second Inquisition, kicking off global vampire panic. I see.
All right.
Yeah, that sounds excellent.
It does sound excellent.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah.
I always make a point of picking out Andy when stuff that he's worked on has come on, because I don't think people appreciate just how broadly he's worked, how much stuff he's worked.
Yes, he's worked on a lot.
Outstanding.
Of stuff. Yeah, the other guy like that is Darren Pierce. Seems to do so much work as well. Every time he posts on Facebook, it's something else.
Yeah,
but Darren's one of those people that can really hammer something out, pretty quickly for you. So if you need 30,000 words in 3 weeks. He's the guy you go to because he'll be able to do it.
Yep.
I'm quite looking forward. I haven't actually tried the latest Vampire yet. I don't know if either of you two have, but I am definitely curious to do so.
No, we've been, as you'd imagine, we've had core book after core book that we've been working on, so we've been all playtesting our stuff.
Yeah, I have the same problem as well. You're working on, you're so head down, buried in your own stuff that sometimes it's hard to remember. There's other stuff going on around you.
Yes, you need to make a point every now and again. Right, no, we're going to play this.
Yeah. I mean, if my job wasn't basically running a news site, I probably wouldn't. Do you know what I mean? I'd just be completely oblivious to it all. It kind of forces me to look out for it.
It does. Oh, quick question. What's next?
What's next?
Yes, on the news.
Oh, I see. Okay. That's a good question, Peter. I like it.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's have a look then. What's next in the Tales from the Loop. Okay, this is a bit tangential. So it's not strictly speaking RPG news, but Tales from the Loop was art book originally by Simon Stalenhag, Swedish guy. Okay, yeah. And that inspired the RPG, and the RPG is absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. It's absolutely beautiful. Beautiful RPG.
Tales from the Loop, for those who are just tuned in or who are struggling to place it, is where you have beautiful Swedish 80s countryside with fantastic mecha and strange, bizarre alien artifacts from a distant alternative dimension, crashed into the middle of it with small children playing on them.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
It's like if you don't know what I'm talking about, Google it, and when you see something like what, then that's the stuff. Good stuff.
It is a lovely game, but this is a TV show, so it's not based on the RPG itself. It's inspired by the same art book that inspired the RPG.
Yeah, and also by the fact that Stranger Things made approximately all the money and all the fans.
Yes, there is that too. Yeah. So that's coming out on Amazon, April the 3rd. So a month away.
Oh, really?
That's a definite lock-in for me.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. That should be fantastic.
It does look utterly fantastic.
Is it called Tales from the Loop?
Yeah.
Sold, right? Okay. So we'll report back on that more later when we've been watched the entire series.
Yeah. There was a new Unearthed Arcana from Wizards of the Coast.
Oh yeah.
I know you're not the biggest fan of them, Peter, but they are news, so we do have to talk about them.
No. Yeah, sure, no problem. I'm just trying to remember what they are.
So we had the Artificer, which is like a magical Iron Man.
Again?
The Armourer for the Artificer, sorry.
Oh, right, yes, sorry. That makes a lot more sense. I was like thinking, but The Artificers in
Yeah,
Rising from the Last War.
yeah, it's new subclasses. So this is the Armourer subclass for the Artificer, which is basically Iron Man. We've got the Circle of Stars for the Druid, which is sort of divinations and sort of constellation-based powers.
Yes, astrology.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I guess, yeah.
But it works because it's a fantasy game.
Yeah. And the Fey Wanderer for the Ranger. He turns the Ranger into a guardian of the border between the material plane and the Feywild with illusionary and charm powers. Sounds fun.
Yeah, really.
What else have we got in the news? Oh, so after the news last week, that FFG seemed to be sort of doing a long-term closure of their role-playing game stuff.
Yes,
And
getting rid of everything. They were getting rid of everything.
Yeah, that's spread all over the internet. And then, this week, they've announced 2 new Legend of the Five Rings books. So I'm totally confused as to what's happening. So if they're still announcing books, it doesn't sound like they're closing things down, does it?
I think there's been a lot of conjecture.
I think
it does seem that there's not a huge amount of clarity. But then I haven't quite seen what exactly is coming from Fantasy.
Well, they've not said anything about it. That's the thing. So
yeah,
there was a report by D20 Radio, and they said that they had confirmed from a source, but didn't say who the source was.
Yeah,
that the long-term plan was to close down the RPG stuff. And then there's been speculation about Star Wars ever since, like who's going to get the Star Wars license and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Which, of course, was bound to happen. And, of course, the answer is Modiphius, because they get all the licenses. But that's another conversation entirely. But from the sounds of this, maybe they're not. Maybe it's not quite as dire a situation as the internet seems to be, speculating.
Yeah, quite like... until we get that confirmed from Fantasy Flight, I guess we're not really going to know 100%.
Yeah. But still... So this is a thing. I mean, you might have more of a comment on this, Dom, because this is more of a sort of industry retailer thing. I wasn't really sure whether to include it in the news. I just was mildly curious what it was. So Paizo debuted a new direct sales program for retailers, which gives them a free branded wire rack for retailers who purchase a selection of Paizo products directly from them rather than through distribution. I was just, I'm not really that much of an expert on how distribution and retail kind of interacts, or whether that's an unusual thing to do, or whether that's...
Yeah, I think it's there aren't many programs like that. I think with a lot of publishers were working within the what's called the 3-tier model. So you've got your publishers selling to your distributors, selling to retailers, and when that works well, it is fantastic for all concerned. The retailers are only dealing with a smaller number of suppliers, and the distributors are acting as that valuable kind of like service of taking all the publisher stuff and then selling it all on to their contacts. You've got the distributors' sales force who are working for everybody, and happy days. Now, of course, there's loads of games being published at the moment. There's which makes it very difficult then for everybody. The publishers are trying to stand out amongst a much more crowded field. Distributors have got a huge number of products to look at, let alone stock, keep in a warehouse, sell to people. That's huge challenges for them. And then retailers have got, again, an enormous array of products to pick from. And they're on the sharp end there of, if they make poor purchasing choices, then their shop slowly fills up with things they can't sell. So, challenges all round. So an initiative like this is something that you can try and do to secure your shelf space in retailers. If you've got that unit in there, then you've got a presence. They're more likely to keep it filled up with your stock.
Well, I guess you're providing the shelf itself, I guess,
Exactly, yes. So it's a very attractive thing to have that in retail. And then there's the obviously it's difficult to supply something. Obviously, it's going to be quite an expensive item for them to make and to get to stores. So they will have had to have looked. Will that work through the traditional distribution model? Can they? Or is that going to be very difficult? Giving something to distributors that isn't something that they sell. there's some challenges there. Just how they would make all that work. So it's I think as soon as you go beyond the usual ways of doing things, then sometimes you have to look at being a bit more creative, doing things a little bit differently.
Well, especially if you're someone like Paizo as well, you've got a bit of sort of leverage to do that as well, because Pathfinder is going to sell.
Yes, absolutely. I think to make it worthwhile, there's got to be a minimum spend.
Yeah.
You've got to know that the retailer's going to take a certain amount of your products to make it worthwhile. You giving them that thing, which a big metal shelving unit's not going to be cheap.
No. Tell you what I also bet. I bet you get some fans there that want the shelving unit as well, because that's just how fandom works.
Yeah, an application from the Totally Genuine Shop Company. Please send. Yeah. It's kind of like those retailer tiers on Kickstarter. You always have to say, "We will ask for proof that you are a shop." Yeah. Oh, it's something you have. Yeah. Well, it's there's loads of issues around that kind of thing at the moment, and making sure that where you draw the line with that as well, with promotional things for retailers, you've got to really decide out who you're trying to support, like with the bits and mortar ski. Russ,
I'm not. No, I should get on that, because I do intend to be. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really worthwhile. It's really good. It's for those who don't know, it's a scheme that retailers can participate in. It was originally set up, I don't know when, a long time ago, but there were a number of publishers that clubbed in together, led by Evil Hat, and they and us were providing PDFs free to people who were ordering direct from us, and we wanted good stores to be able to participate in that, and there's a nice sort of value add for them as well. As I said, we would much rather people have a local friendly game store that get stuff through, and we'll we will support that as much as we can.
I totally agree.
So it's really good.
If you buy a physical book, I mean, I think getting a PDF for free is just a no-brainer these days.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's people are paying for the content. Now, if we ever get to if we're doing really sort of like rich content digital things, then that's different, I'd say. But when it's the PDF, then we bookmark it and make it searchable and all the rest of it. But that's I'm quite content is what people are paying for when they're buying the content.
Yeah.
And also, friendly local game stores especially are vital for role-playing games more than any other, because stuff like Warhammer 40k, I didn't need to go to a Games Workshop to learn how to play that. It's got it all set up, but actually playing a role-playing game without knowing it, you've got like 5-6 people you're all supposed to suddenly provide entertainment for, and how does this work?
Yes, definitely.
I think that's YouTube has helped, but
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's one of the brilliant things about Bits and Mortar is that, yes, it allows the retailer to give a copy of the PDF when someone buys the physical book. But we also give them permission for their staff to access that library so they can learn about the game and deliver better demos.
That's a good idea.
And speak with more knowledge. So, it's a great thing for giving, helping to provide stores with the knowledge to sell our games. So it's win-win. It really is. If your local friendly game store doesn't do that, then nag them about joining up to Bits and Mortar. It's well worth it.
I think we might be done on the RPG news, apart from the Cubicle 7 stuff, which we can all sort of like combine in a big long section in a minute. That's pretty much it. Oh, apart from my own bit of RPG news, obviously, is Soul Space, the Spartan Gambit Kickstarter. This podcast will be going out tomorrow, which is Saturday, and the Kickstarter starts on Tuesday, March the 3rd,
which is the 3rd,
and then ends the following Monday, 1 week only. It's a quick starter. Yes, it's an experiment on my part, and I don't know how well it'll go, and I might never do it again. We'll see. But I'm just curious.
Depends on how much money you make and how many authors you get.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if money's good and ulcers are low, then...
Essentially, yeah. It's an experiment. We'll see. I mean,
Yes.
Yeah.
And man, it's an auspicious time to launch it because it's just before International GM's Day.
yes, the day before International GM's Day. Yes.
Yes, I know. It's very easy for me to remember which day that is.
March 4th for GM's Day.
Yeah, because that's my birthday. So it's like,
Ah.
yeah, which for us apparently started years before we met. So it's like he clearly recognises the values of March 4th. And I'm like, yeah, I can't really argue with that.
Does this mean I'm supposed to get you a present next week?
No.
All right, I won't then. Right.
Might bring over some Damson gin if you're lucky.
We have got some breaking news here. So, literally just now, Penguin Random House accidentally leaked the name and cover image of the next D&D, official D&D setting book coming on May the 19th, and it's called Mythic Odysseys of Theros. And Mythic Odysseys of Theros is a sort of Greekish-themed Magic the Gathering world. So that makes it, after Ravnica, that makes it the second official Magic the Gathering world to be turned into a D&D setting. There's a massive, great big list of races on the Magic the Gathering Wikipedia page, and I don't know how many of those will translate from Magic to D&D. Some of them are obviously sort of like Greek-themed monsters and stuff. There's cats, centaurs, gorgons, there's merfolk, minotaurs, satyrs, spirits, zombies, archons, basilisks, chimeras, cyclopses, demons, dragons, giants, hags, harpies, hounds, hydras, krakens, lamias, manticores, pegasi, phoenixes, and sirens and sphinxes. Yeah, I mean, this literally just happened. So Penguin Random House accidentally posted this page with the product details, the ISBN number, the date, the product cover, which shows like it looks like some kind of Hydra fighting some Greek warrior. And then they quickly took it down again when they realised their mistake, but not before I managed to grab a picture of it. Yep, breaking news. The first time we've ever had breaking news actually break during the podcast itself.
It's time to play our favourite game. It's time to play the game. Our favourite game in all the world. Guess the Kickstarter from just the name.
Let's do some Kickstarters, shall we?
Oh, yes, let's. Or what we could do is we could play our
Let's
favourite
do
game.
that. Should we play our favourite game in all the world, Dom?
Yeah, I want to play your favourite game in all the world.
The best game. Okay.
What is the full title of our favourite game in all the world
The
ever?
full title of the game is Our Favourite Game in All the World, the game where I read out the name of a Kickstarter and you try and guess what it is from just the name. A nice, snappy title, I always think. One day I'll publish this game and it'll be on a box, and the entire title will be on the front of that box.
It just trips off the tongue. And now that we've had our rules recap, let's go.
All right, who would like to go first?
All right, well, did you want to go first, Tom, or shall I?
You can go
All right,
first.
Tom.
I don't want to
You
go first.
Yeah.
Just show people how not to do it.
Okay, then.
The terrible mistakes you can make.
So, Peter, what is
Yes.
Dragon Stew?
Bit chewy, I'll be honest.
Sounds delicious.
Well, it's like one of those recipes. First, catch your dragon.
Yeah.
Yes, Dragon Stew. I think this is a zine, I'm going to say. This sounds to me exactly like a zine. It's people who are wanting to do probably Dungeons and Dragons-esque format style things, and this is going to be the Kickstarter for getting it rolling and stuff. That's my best.
Are you sure that Dragon Stew isn't the lead character?
It's Stuart.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Well, his mother calls him Stuart, but yeah. Stuart Dragon. Go to your real response.
No, STEW.
That could work as well.
Yeah, good. You got that.
Well, unfortunately, Peter, you are completely wrong. That's a definite score of minus 10 points out of 10. Because what this is a cooking supplement for D&D 5th edition.
Like Dungeon Moshi, but even better. Dungeon Moshi being a manga, which is fantastic and all about people who, due to terrible life decisions, are having to explore a dungeon and have absolutely failed to have any of the stuff that they need to go through it, like supplies and so forth. So they're forced to eat the monsters they find along the way.
Oh, that's good.
Fun.
It's actually it sounds like a really interesting concept. When you read it, it's like really well written and actually quite beautifully illustrated. So yeah, Dungeon Moshi is the name of it. Thoroughly recommend.
Dungeon Moshi.
Gosh. Okay. Yeah, that sounds interesting. So is Dragon Stew is it in world or out?
Let's have a look. It says
Recipes.
it is a cooking supplemental for 5th edition with cooking classes, dessert familiars. I don't know what a dessert familiar is. Cooking rules and a cooking trial
I guess it's
adventure.
like a big scorpion or something. Oh, sorry, that's desert familiar. My
It's
bad.
rules for cooking in D&D.
I'll summon a sous chef.
It's got an adventure in there.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Cast bread milk.
By someone called Antonio
Is it-
Denico.
Is this kind of bringing the Overcooked to tabletop?
Oh,
It's dad's joke time.
now we're talking. Yeah. Oh, a bit of overcooked. Yeah. God.
Yeah, that could work.
Right.
Yeah.
Next one is
Yes.
for Dom. And the next one is
Got on.
They Feed on Fear.
Evocative.
Yep. I feel fear. Steve's job. They feed on fear. I think this one is about. Is it an economic simulator? Is it? Is this like a hedge fund thing? Is it like a? I think it's definitely some kind of crisis capitalism. Yeah, that's what it is. It's like got people eating lobster on the front cover, loads of champagne, and laughing as people are sort of like looking worried outside. Yeah, that's
With Simon Pegg in it.
oh yeah. Do you reckon would it be? But what will he be? One of the goodies of the baddies? He can do both with a plum, you know.
Scotty is Simon Pegg. Right. Would you like to know what this actually is? Or should we just move on and just leave people? I think that would be doing a disservice to the Kickstarter creator. It's a horror RPG where you play the horror. You create and take control of horrific interdimensional beings that sustain themselves by devouring the fear and essence of their victims.
So I was right.
Basically, I think you were, yeah. I think you scored 10 out of 10 now. Perfectly spot on. It's a 32-page RPG, digest size, 5.5 times 8.5 inches. That's it. Fully contained 32-page RPG.
Excellent. That sounds good. I'm really intrigued by the interdimensional aspect.
Well, the Fear Eater's goal is to sow discord, fear, and horror, all while avoiding the feeble attempts to end their rampaging, unquenchable feast. Yeah,
Okay.
Sounds good. Yeah.
So, sort of a duet play then?
It doesn't say that.
Okay.
Oh.
So, I don't know, what, 3, 4? I don't know, I'd feel less special if I was playing it and it wasn't duet play. Like, I like having to share the spotlight with like 3 or 4 other rampaging horrors. It's just not the same.
Okay. Well, this will set you about 25 of Canada's finest dollars.
Oh.
I don't know how they translate into American dollars or pounds. 25
Canadian dollars.
Canadian dollars. No, that's not going to work in my head today.
25 loonies, as they might say. Seems likely, but can happen.
There was one other Kickstarter that caught my eye this week, actually. Not part of the game, but it was...
Oh, it's £14.49.
It was called Infini Dungeons, and it was a 100-foot dungeon just on a kind of roller, and you'd like roll. It's like that wide, about a foot wide, just 2 feet wide, and 100 feet long, and it looked astonishing. I mean, I wouldn't buy it just because I haven't got room for it. I just don't know where I'd use that, but it does look pretty awesome.
Well, I think the idea is you like unroll.
I guess,
Yeah.
Yeah, And then
I was wondering,
go along.
as a GM though, wouldn't you be tempted to just like kind of like push it along and squash all the characters' moves as they die? Add some sort of like time, Indiana Jones style Baldur thing, but it's the dungeon rolling up and crushing you all.
I think there was like a couple of board games like that. I remember Tyranid Attack, and there was a car racing game where like once somebody got onto the next board or would get onto the next board, they just took off the back end. And if you were there on the back piece, then that's it, mate. Sorry, game over. Yeah.
Well, anyway, I think that's the end of our favourite game in all the world, with Dom getting 10 points for getting that last one spot on.
Oh,
hey.
yeah.
I think we can declare him the winner this week. Congratulations, Dom.
Yes.
Your trophy is in
you.
the post. Yes. It's not a trophy, it's a hat. It's a special hat.
Okay.
Peter's looking disappointed now.
That's great. That's very Warhammer, I think.
Hello there. I hear of the greatest druid in town.
Indeed I am, sir. How can I help?
I wish to order a plague upon my enemies.
That's what we do here at Pestilence Incorporated, sir. What did you have in mind?
Well, I was thinking a nice case of the Black Death would do the trick, oh wizard of nature.
No can do, sir. Last batch expired 300 years ago.
Did it now? Huh. Oh well. How about a little outbreak of zombie fever?
Oh, they outlawed that one last year, sir.
How unfortunate. Never mind. In that case, may I requisition a lovely plague of locusts, good prognosticator?
At this time of year, sir, locusts simply can't perform in winter.
I see. Well then, Sir Magus, let's go with a spot of wailing sickness, if you please.
Wait a minute, sir. Sorry. We had a little dish of it, but it seems the cat ate it.
Did it now? We're not doing very well here, are we?
No, sir. We are the best provider of natural endemics in the district.
Apart from the lack of any actual endemics, you say?
We've never had any complaints, sir.
Very well, young soothsayer.
I'm 96.
Just take the compliment.
Very good, sir.
I'd like to order a few creeping parasites, if I may.
Very good, sir. We should have something next Tuesday.
No, that's no good, is it?
I couldn't say, sir.
Well then, young seer or seeress, what about a darling little quiver of salt plague?
Just for now, sir.
Creeping chills?
Only on Thursdays.
Scarlet malady?
Sorry, sir.
Devil rot, white fog, worm flu, more plague.
I'm not really accustomed to this claim, sir.
Look, Sir Evocateur, I'm really rather running out of patience.
We do have the widest selection of contagions, infections, infestations, pandemics, scourges and afflictions in the county, sir.
Yeah, so your sign says, yet you seem to be remarkably lacking in any of them.
You haven't asked about natural disasters yet, sir.
I see.
We have a discount on tidal waves right now, sir.
Very well then, good sorcerer. May I purchase from you one tidal wave to go?
Afraid we just sold the last one, sir.
Well, of course you did. Well, how about a charming little earthquake or two?
Sorry, sir. We had one, but it escaped.
It escaped.
Yes, tricky little devils, those earthquakes.
Are they now?
They are, sir.
A hurricane?
Nope.
Drought?
Sorry.
Volcano?
No, sorry.
Flood?
Against our policy, sir.
Tsunami? Tornado? Avalanche?
Let me check. No, out of stock, sir.
Meteor strike? Supernova? Gamma ray burst?
Delivery next week, sir.
Look, Witch, are you even a druid at all?
A druid, sir?
Yes, you said you were the finest druid in all the land.
No, sir, I'm a bard. Can you tell from my loot?
I hate you.
Right then, shall we talk about some Cubicle 7?
Oh, that's really good. I mean,
Just ma'am.
you fancy talking about Cubicle 7?
Yeah, why not?
We've got Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, Age of Sigmar, and Warhammer 40,000, otherwise known as Warhammer 40k,
Yes.
which is also known as Wrath and Glory. So, right, we've got 3 distinct and separate concepts. Let's unpack it for our listeners.
Oh, should we start with Sigmar, just because some news came out this week about Sigmar?
Absolutely.
Age of Sigmar, yes.
Age of Sigmar,
following on in the continuity from the Warhammer Fantasy roleplay.
Yes, and the full name is Age of Sigmar Soulbound, I believe. Is that correct? Yes.
Yeah.
That's right, yes. So that's the take we have on Age of Sigmar is that you are playing the Soulbound, where in the Age of Sigmar, things have not gone well. The chaos had taken over pretty much all of the mortal realms. Then Sigmar led his big fight back against that with the Stormcast Eternals. And
so Sigmar's like a human figure who's ascended to godhood and then comes back to go against chaos, which are the literal forces of sort of demons and all different sorts of flavours of the so-called ruinous powers that are rampaging through Warhammer world. Yeah.
Yep, that's right. The fight back started, and they started making inroads. The problems started occurring when Nagash, who's the god of the dead, realised that Sigmar had been stealing all of these souls that were his rightful, the god of the dead, Nagash's rightful due, and forging
Nagash
them into the Stormcast
was
Eternals.
sort of a leech, wasn't he? And now he's sort of... so Nagash has also become a god and then come back. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. And he's furious. Now, originally they were allies, so there's been lots of sort of like history of betrayal and things like that.
Nice.
But he was very upset at all of his souls being stolen by Sigmar and other things that he did not like going on.
Liberated, not stolen.
Exactly. He's unleashed his own devastating plans. The Necroquake, which is one of my favourite event names ever. That has been a further setback to Sigmar's plan. So you've gone from a big sort of like build up to the fight back, and then all of a sudden Sigmar and the forces of order have been pitted against a lot more than they were bargaining for.
Right.
So there is a lot of stuff that needs doing. The fight back is on a knife edge. Really, all you've got is beachheads in the mortal realms. There's the first sort of cities are there, but it's pinpricks of light. But there's so much that needs doing, and that's where the Soulbound come in. So it's a revived order from the Age of Myth. You're playing these people who are basically taking a vow and allying with the mortal realms to help fight back against the forces of everything that's assailing them. So you're filling the gaps where it's going to be impractical, or maybe they're stretched too thin. So the forces of order are stretched too thin to do something. The Soulbound will go and do what needs doing. So
I think when you were last on, you mentioned that the system you're using was a bit more heroic than the Warhammer Fantasy roleplay system. Can you sort of talk a little bit about the system itself?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a D6 dice pool system. We have a bit of variable difficulty in there, and then numbers of successes as well that you're rolling for. So it's in terms of the what you're rolling. Anybody who's played Age of Sigmar will be familiar with that kind of. You're rolling d6s and seeing if you have succeeded, and then there's a how well you've succeeded as well.
Yeah, so you've got like an attribute on your character sheet and skills, and the numbers that you have there give you the number of dice you roll.
Yep.
That's your D6
that's
dice
right.
roll. And the difficulty, it's like, what's it? The average is, I think, was it 3, the difficulty number?
4.
4.
Yeah.
You have to, what is it? If you roll a 6, that's a success, isn't it? Was it 5 or 6?
It is depends on how good you are compared to what's going on. So
yes, you've got the focuses as well. I remember. Yeah,
that's right. Yes, so you've got you're rolling the dice. So you've got training, which gives you the extra dice on your skill roll, and then you've got focuses that give you the ability to adjust a die roll. Yeah. If you've got a focus of
you've got a handful of dice, and then if you've got the focus, then it increases or it decreases the number you have to roll on these dice to get the success.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. And then it becomes really easy to count it up, because I'm aware some of our listeners may never have seen a game that isn't a D20 system.
No, absolutely. So you'll have a number that you're trying to roll on your dice,
Yes.
and you'll have depending on the difficulty of the task, you'll have a number of successes that you need to get. So sometimes it's just you need to get one. So if you're difficulty of 4, you're rolling 4 dice. As long as you got a 4 on one of those, for something pretty easy, then you're all right. And then sometimes you'll need 2, sometimes you'll need 3, depending on the. It's a nice way of giving the GM a few different levers, and then with the player choosing the focus, there's the ability there to tweak them. We've obviously been playtesting it a lot, but I'm still torn every time it comes to am I going to get an extra die in this, or am I going to go for the ability to tweak it? Yeah. It's interesting, yeah. It does give you some good choices as when you're making your character.
So, what sort of characters are you going to play in this? What are the sort of range of occupations or roles that you're going to be playing?
So there's loads of archetypes that you can choose from, and we've been trialing those. We've been trailing. That's the word. We've been showing people them. That's an even better word. They're the ones that we've been showing off on the website. So if you look on the Age of Sigmar news on Cubicle7games.com, then you'll see a load of them there. Yeah, I'm trying to remember now what I've been playing. It's a good mix of. I've had some Stormcast Eternal characters. I've had good fun with those. I love playing the Stormcast with the Soulbound. They're a little bit different because they've kind of been claimed by Sigmar already. So you're part of like the Soulbound group, but you're not as bound to the others as they are to each other. So I found that quite an interesting tension.
I've not heard the phrase Stormcast Eternal because I'm so out of date on my Warhammer lore. Shocking, I need to go on a refresher course or something. This could be my opportunity.
I think we can help with that.
Stormcast Eternal?
So, Stormcast Eternals are heroes from across the ages who have been facing an existential threat. When they're just about to make their last stand, have appealed to Sigmar not to save them, but to give them strength to fight and
Get the job done.
That has those Sigmar's been scouring the ages for those heroes who have what he's looking for. And at that moment, they get summoned up to Azerheim in a lightning bolt, where they are reforged into. So it's the point of death. Basically, these heroes plucked out of whatever situation they were in. They find themselves in Azerheim, which is where Sigmar's realm.
It sounds like there's a lot of analogy to like sort of the Norse afterlife.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of that stuff mixed in. They're reforged into Stormcast Eternals, which are very tough military warriors. There's a range of different specialisms they have as well, like the. I have to remember now I'm getting all these right, but the Venators or the winged ones, they're my favorite. I like being able to fly in games. Yeah. I haven't had enough flying characters, so I've been enjoying those. But anyway, so there's this the reforging process is horrific and very painful, and then your duty is to go and fight for Sigmar. Now, when at the point of death, if you die as a Stormcast Eternal, Sigmar plucks you back, where you get reforged again and sent out for more of the fighting. So yes, there's some interesting things going on with that as well. You've got lots of characters who maybe weren't 100% happy with being plucked out of their valiant last stand, defending their family from the forces of chaos, you've got they've just found out as well that as the Stormcast are being reforged again and again and again, they're losing a little bit of their
identity.
Yeah, identity. And in some cases, their humanity as well. So there's lots of interesting things there about, okay, these are the forces of order, but are they good?
The means justify the end. So,
exactly, yeah.
And certainly must be a very traumatic experience, one would imagine. It's like, get almost killed, get killed again, rinse and repeat as necessary. That's going to be unpleasant.
Yeah,
no,
it's not much.
That doesn't sound ideal.
No.
So, what sort of adventures would you expect to have? Sort of I mean, it sounds very Battlefronty there, the way you're describing it, but there's a sort of variety in types of adventures you might be involved in.
Oh, yeah, I'm giving completely the wrong impression there by obsessing on Stormcast Eternal. So they're a small part of the characters that you can play. So there's the Sylvaneth, big... I'm just getting the list in front of me. I always leave things out. You've got the Ideneth, the elves that were hidden from Slanesh, one of the Chaos Gods, who ate all the elves at the end of the world that was.
Right.
So Teclis was hiding people from, or hiding some elves, trying to sneak them out. They're the ones, I don't know if you've seen them, the ones riding the giant turtles and sharks. And
Yes, I think we mentioned the elves riding sharks last time, actually.
Yeah. The what else have you got? You've got the Kernoth Hunter, who's huge tree guys. They are they're great fun to play. They're just like enormous kind of squashy, stompy, shooty things. Haradron Overlords. They are Dwarden. They have a lot of kind of steampunky kind of weapons and equipment, and they ride all around on airships.
I have seen some dwarfs with personal hot air balloons and Gatling guns.
That's them.
Into a Warhammer. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's the Caradron. They are fantastic.
I got to say, I was like looking at them thinking, oh, I have a lot of unpainted plastic. But surely I could afford more.
Yeah, absolutely. The airships are fantastic. And yeah, like you say, the Sky Riggers, they're great. And they can make stuff as well. You've got the sort of the evolution from dwarves into dwarven with the age of Sigmar. There's a couple of different kind of types that have come out. You've got the Fire Slayers as well, which are do you remember the old Troll Slayers and Giant Slayers and Dragon Slayers from the old world? The big
yes,
axe wielding, Gotrek. So the Fire Slayers of those just turned up to 11. Absolutely ferocious. There's a lot more to them than that, but you can see the evolution of where they come from.
I'm just looking at the awesome map actually, which you released a map. I think it was yesterday, wasn't it? On your website. So we've got this great big map of the Great Parch by Jared Blando, who did he do your Middle Earth map as well? Yeah, I remember that one too.
Yes, yeah.
Gorgeous stuff. And then just look at this map. So detailed and so colourful and massive.
Yes, Jared's fantastic. It's been great work.
Yeah. So what's the Great Parch? Is that kind of like the main setting of the Age of Sigmar?
That's where we're starting off. So you've got the Mortal Realms, and one of those is Akshi, and Great Parch is a small part of Akshi. So each of the Mortal Realms has its own sort of type, its own magic type. It is the realm of fire. The realm of fire, and they're kind of like, they describe it as practically infinite. They do have edges, but you're never going to get anywhere near it. Because the magic gets more and more intense as you get further to the edges of each realm. So
these are just the local poles, as it were.
Yeah. I mean, so in most of them, actually, there's an exception, but with most of them, the closer you are to the middle, sort of like the normal rules of physics will mostly apply. So the Great Parch is most things would behave as you would expect.
I'm absolutely loving the names on there. So it's like the Ocean of Swords,
the Vitriol Sea. I like that one.
I did notice the Vitriol Sea. I'm like, that's lots of. It's right next to sulfuria, so I'm like, sulfuric acid. That's a lot of.
That's one of the best things about maps. Looking at them and just seeing especially when you're not super familiar with the setting, and you see all these evocative names, and your imagination just kind of runs away with you, and you wonder what might be there. It's like that Here Be Dragons thing, isn't it? You don't necessarily know what it is, but the name just calls to you, and you just need to find out.
Yes.
Especially on a map like this, which is so detailed and colourful. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, I love the polychromatics. It's one of my favourite. Yeah, there's fantastic. I think one of the when the Age of Sigmar first came out, and I picked up my copy and I flipped it open. It was the first map I came across. Was you had the wonderful floating, beautiful islands, waterfalls flowing down on one side, and then kind of like its mirror image on the other side of the map was ones that had been infested with by Nurgle, and it was just like pus and ooze waterfalls coming off these festering islands that are floating around the place. There's like a greater demon with its guts in the river was a landmark. I was like, this is different.
Why do evil beings always seem like pus and slime and stuff like that? I mean, if I was evil, I'm sure I still wouldn't like pus and slime very much.
You'd still have some hygiene standards. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's one of the inversion, isn't it? Is one of the one of the strongest tools for signaling, isn't it? Whatever the opposite of what a normal, whatever that means, person would object to, or would, yeah. But yeah, it's definitely a. The Chaos Gods tend to go in for those.
So how much can you say about the schedule on this? I know you can't give a release date at the moment, but where sort of are you in the process?
Not yet, no. So we're very close to being done. Yeah, it's one of those things. I think as a company, or also as a publisher, personally, it's always a challenge. That kind of like the being able to get things out in a way that you can identify 9 months previously. In terms of timeline and stuff like that, it's always a challenge, and I think we do tend to approach these things because we love them and we're really invested in the games that we're making, and we want to make them as well as possible and only make them be as good as possible. We're much more focused on quality and getting them right than we are about working to a timeline. And when it comes to the stage where one of those has got to go, it's always the timeline that goes, rather than making any comment. Now, the other way of saying that is, or the other approach to that would be to say that the constraints are what provide creative impulse. And working to those timelines, maybe if we were a little bit more strict with ourselves about those, we'd find a way to make it all work on time. So yeah. Who knows? I'm still struggling with that.
I just don't give deadlines at all. Release dates at all. I just refuse to give them out because
we've stopped now. Yeah, we used to, because we just realised we were making sticks and giving them.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
It was all self-inflicted. And it's. I absolutely appreciate everybody's passion and all the rest of it. It's what am I trying to say? It's not like a complaint. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes sometimes you can feel it's a bit like, oh, this feels really unfair while people are having a go in this on the internet. We're doing our best, kind of thing. But I do also totally appreciate that passion, and it comes from the best of.
But you want to get it right, and if it takes a bit longer to do that, then you'd rather spend the time and make sure that the final product is the product you want to release, not. Not be held to some arbitrary deadline which you came up with a year before.
Yeah, definitely. Now, when I was saying that, the part of what I've been doing over the last few years is trying to get Cubicle 7 into a place where we can do both, where we can continue to produce all the good stuff that we've been producing, but also be able to do it much more closely to schedule. I've been spending a lot of time building up our capacity, building up the team here, so that we can get that holy grail.
So are we talking weeks, months, years? Are we talking this year? Definitely this year.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we are, where are we now? 28th of February. Yeah, we're talking weeks.
Oh, okay. That comes. Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking summer here. I was in my head for some reason. It was further away. It's like, weeks.
No. So for obviously that's for PDF release.
Yeah.
And then print flows from that.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say how many weeks, but it's a number. We're not too far off.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, number of weeks shouldn't be in double figures.
So for the whole Age of Sigmar thing, you've got a core rulebook coming out. Have you got other stuff lined up yet?
Yeah, definitely. So this is where I get it. Sometimes I can get a bit sketchy on some details where things have changed. One part of what I've been doing with Cubicle the last few years is bringing in producers for each of the game lines.
Yes.
So Emmett Byrne is Age of Sigmar producer. So he'd have all of this stuff off pat, but sometimes I'm sort of like a step or two if I haven't had an update. So
you're not too micromanaging then. It's a takeaway.
I am, but I think because I'm spread across all the lines. Sometimes one thing pushes out another.
Yeah,
as our favourite barman might say. There is loads planned for Age of Sigmar. We've got a fantastic campaign which I'm looking forward to sharing more details of.
Okay.
That's going to be very exciting, and I think that's going to be that one's going to be really, really good fun. We have the usual kind of mix of stuff that you'd be looking for.
Screens and stuff. Special dice.
Now that's one thing that we are still tying down. So the starter set's going to be a few months after the rule book. Mm-hmm. So we're still fiddling around with dice at the moment.
Yeah.
We'll have some nice dice.
Yeah.
And then there's adventure scenarios, and source books, and campaigns.
Wonderful.
Lots planned. Yeah, definitely. I think, and again, that's one of the when you're a smaller RPG publisher, especially, I think that you can. Everything goes, all that effort going into the core rulebook, and then it's hard to make sure that you've got that support supplementary stuff.
Well, especially when you're doing multiple lines like you are. I mean, I struggle with it with just like one or two things, but you're doing so much, so many more things.
Mm. Yeah. Yes, it's definitely a struggle to try and do.
But then again, you've got how many staff have you got over there now? You said 13 or something last.
Yeah, so in the office, and then we're at 20 once you've included the full-time remote workers as well. Yeah. So, and then all the freelancers as well. We've got lots of great freelance talent.
Yeah.
So So
when you moved over to Ireland, because you went from Swindon to Ireland, did staff go with you, or did you have to sort of rebuild like the direct office staff again over
kind of a mix? So the direct office stuff, we had somebody kept Becky kept the UK office going for a little while afterwards. And then a mix really. Some people stayed involved, but because we were primarily a remote working company while we were in the UK. I mean, really, it got to the point where I realised that I felt like I'd gone as far as I could with a mostly remote working structure. I wanted to build up the on-site.
Sure. Studio. Yeah. No, I can understand. I mean, what would you say the strengths of a remote or an actual on-site, as you say, studio with people like in the same room as you, who you can call over to and say, hey, how's that PDF coming along, or what's going on with this, as opposed to a remote working thing where you can email someone and get a reply back the next day, and the same conversation, which would take 5 minutes in person, takes a week. Yes.
There's a lot of that. I think being able to physically get around a table and thrash stuff out is really, really important. Play tests certainly are a lot more easily with the team when we can get everybody around the table. Now, we generally have TS phones in, or Google Hangouts in on play tests from he's in California, so we still have that mix. I find it's easy, and there's an element of personal working style there as well. Of course, some people vastly prefer remote working, and that suits their personal style more. I think for me, I like to be able to sit with somebody, and I like us to be able to point at screens and then go, "Oh, that should be a little bit more of a." We need a skull brooch there.
Well, also, it's a lot easier to explain something like that as well. When you try to say that in an email, that's a little harder to do, isn't it? Yeah, definitely. So, and there's strengths with remote working as well. I think that you can be distracted when you're all in the office. There can be a bit more. You chat about stuff a bit more. There's a bit more of that. Which is all good team building stuff as well, of course. But I still find, sometimes if I find with writing,
than working from home to just get my head down and concentrate on getting one thing done. Yeah. Writing, and some other things as well that I just want to get my head down with, and that's still got that strength. And and I'm lucky to have that flexibility.
Sure. So how much writing do you actually get to do these days?
Not as much as I'd like, and I think I think I'm getting my head around the fact that I actually do have a company to run here, and apparently that's a job. So I'm still trying to make sure that I keep my hand in. So I think that in recent times, the favourite bits of writing that I've done, the intro to Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, we got those lovely double-page spreads. And I did so it was a journey from the extremities of the Empire through to the centre, through to the city. Each one of those, you start off at a border outpost, and then you go to a village, and then there's you're on a riverboat, barge heading down to the city. And I did 2 bits of writing for each of them. The first one was like the propaganda piece of how amazing his Imperial Excellency Karl Franz's village is, the heart of his the Empire, how well he looks after them, and blah blah blah. And then a more pragmatic kind of like cynical take on it as well. I had great fun with those. So, what am I writing on late? I've just done a bit for the introduction to the new Wrath and Glory, which is good fun. So basically at the moment it's just cherry picking. But yes, the bits that I definitely want to do.
For me it's because I can have sort of people working on Judge Dredd and stuff like that. It allows me to do my little passion projects like Soul Space and things like that, and just keep them to myself and have a bit of fun with that, and take my time over them and just make them the thing that I make them for myself, and I make the product that I want. Yeah, and I hope that other people want it. Yeah, as well. I
do think it's important. I mean, for I think I've always tried to keep some bits for me. I'm working on something at the moment that's completely unrelated to some of the licenses that we're working on. Just sort of like a little project for me. So I think it's important to keep your hand in as well. But also, it's a nice little reminder of why you got into it in the first place as well. Yeah, I think it's nice to be able to do those things. And sometimes there's so much to do that there's no time for that. But I miss it if it's too long in between.
How do you balance the sort of licenses on the one hand, which are sort of high profile, lucrative, they get the company a lot of attention and things like that. But then also stuff where you want to be developing your own IP. And you want to be doing both of those things. How do you sort of manage that balance?
Yeah, I think that depends on what licenses you've got at the time, what the balance of them is, how much of everybody's time it's taking to work on those. I mean, we're really lucky in that we have licenses that we will love. So we're getting that creation itch scratched with the licenses. So and I think as you say, when you're building a company, licenses give you a shortcut to that audience, and they give you a wider reach quicker than developing your own IP. When you're developing your own IP is a much longer process, and so it kind of depends on what you're trying to achieve as well. What you want to do. I think that what I want to do with Cubicle 7 is to tell excellent. See, I'm crap at these sentences things, aren't I? But what I'm trying to do with Cubicle 7 is develop a team here that helps people have amazing experiences through interactive narrative things, no matter what they are. Obviously, it's
because obviously you do card games as well, and and stuff like that.
So that's what I'm trying to do, and I think that the licenses that we're working on, the properties that we're working on, are just fantastic and really, really good things for us to be doing. And because we've got a few licenses at the moment, that's taking up a lot of our time, and bandwidth, which is absolutely fine. I mean,
licenses come with pressure as well, though, don't they? Because you've got to get them right. Yeah, because it's not your toy to play with, really. You're playing with someone else's toy box.
And again, we've been lucky, I think, in the licensors that we've worked with have been great. So, we've had very little problem. I mean, there always will be. And I think that's the what you've got to keep in mind as well is like you say, it's not yours. There's going to be there's going to be problems that are going to come that you'll have to navigate. You'll have to be making sure that you're doing things right. And sometimes there's just like business things that happen that mean that it stops.
yeah, absolutely. And pretty much all licenses stop eventually.
Yeah, exactly.
They have to, don't they?
Yeah. Definitely.
Which is a sad thing.
Yeah, it is. And I think we've always had really good relationships with licensors as well. So, which I think is it's great. But it's obviously we've had the recent reminder that sometimes things will come to an end. And that's like I say, we do this because we love it. We love the properties. We love games. But there's a business side to it as well. And if that doesn't work, then and it won't all the time.
You can insulate yourself a little bit by the way you've just got several. You've got Games Workshop, you've got the BBC, you've got various things. So
So no, there's not much that I can say. It's, what as to why we terminated that agreement, but it's I think as I was saying before, we love the properties that we work on, and we love the games, and it's sometimes the business side of things doesn't work out.
Sometimes you just have to make the hard decisions.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that's.
Yeah, sure. Let's move on, shall we?
Fine. Yeah. So we've talked about Age of Sigmar and how it's different from Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. But what's the Cubicle 7? What things have you brought to the much beloved and quite venerable property of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay? What's Cubicle 7 thing? What's the added magic?
I think that's a really good question.
Because Dom comes down to your house and narrates the entire book to you in his dulcet tones.
No, I basically just blow a load of glitter through your letterbox. That's the added magic. So we've been having an absolute ball going through the Enemy Within with Graham Davis. So Enemy Within, one of the most lauded fantasy role-playing campaigns of all time. He was up there, one of the all-time greats. So when we were looking at what we would do with Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, now we've got loads of new stuff planned as well. But one of the things that we really wanted to do, especially with the 30th anniversary of the campaign as well, was get and some of the older volumes have been difficult to get hold of, and we really wanted to come revisit the campaign. Represent it, and Graham Davis was happy to get involved, which was absolutely amazing. As one of the authors on the original campaign, and give it the director's cut treatment. So
sort of re-edit it to be
there's
sensibilities.
So it's quite different then to the original.
A lot.
Well, I think that as Graham's been saying, they're taking advantage of 30 years of playtesting.
Right.
So I think that the biggest thing that people will notice is that we've got these grognard boxes, which are present loads of different options. So the other thing with a well-loved campaign like The Enemy Within is that lots of people have played it. So Graham wanted to build in a load of suggestions and options for completely changing it. So you're maybe swapping out who is the antagonist in a certain part, or
there's a sort of the last adventure of the original campaign. I know some people who have occasionally sort of said it may be a little anticlimactic.
Oh, the part 5, the Empire in Flames.
Yes. I think wasn't there like a fan version of it that someone, I can't remember now.
Yeah, I think Warhammer's always had a huge fan community who've been producing a load of great stuff. Yeah, there's lots of stuff, and I think there were plans for Hogshead to do part 5 again, and
Yeah, I think that's what I was. Yeah, that's what I was remembering. Actually, concepts. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
So
yeah.
what we've done is it's an all new part 4 and 5.
Right. Okay.
So the parts 1, 2, 3. Part 4 of the Enemy Within was something rotten in Kislev. There's loads of great stuff in that, but some people felt that it took it off in a bit of a different direction.
Yes. It was like a side quest, wasn't it?
Yeah. So the part 4 that we are doing is builds on some of the plans that people had at the time.
Right. Okay.
So,
is it the same name though? Is it?
No.
Same, totally different thing.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
So 4 and 5 will be different. Yeah. So
Are they currently secret then?
I can totally remember. That's not The Horned Rat is part 4. And Enemy in Ruins. Empire in Ruins.
All right.
Part 5. So if they're not secret now, I'm pretty sure they're not secret.
So where are we on the sort of production schedule?
Yes,
the first one's
we had our
is it
proofs
soon?
through of the book, the interiors. So I believe that then there's a load of those on a truck going to Germany to have some things done to them to turn them into the collector's edition. And once we've got those blocks, we're just checking those. Once we say they're okay, then the binding starts on the standard edition. So we're really in the middle of the process at the moment. So we don't have a firm ETA on when they will arrive here. It's the printers are doing their thing.
Right. So what, are we talking weeks again, or?
No, it should be. I reckon. Again, it's all these. It's all various
tomorrow
dates.
lunchtime, you say, right?
2 to 3 weeks, isn't it? 2 to 3 weeks. Everything takes 2 to 3 weeks. I think it's in progress. We'll know soon. We'll know rather than me making it up.
So
that's for part 1. Yeah,
that's part 1 coming. So 2 is going to be a bit behind that.
That one is. We should have a PDF of that in. It's being pulled together at the moment, so should be 2. I think it's in the early stages of layout. But, getting there. And they should after that be 2 months, I think, 2 to 3 months, something like that. So we've what's the see again sentences
just words
strong. Yeah. Yes, we're hard at work on them. Loads of art coming in, loads of but most of the writing is complete. Actually, it's just the last part that's being completed with writing at the moment. So,
wonderful.
We're well in hand, and we'll get through them in fairly short order now.
As you mentioned a couple of moments ago, you mentioned the standard edition, and of course you mentioned the collector's edition. Just wanted to talk about the collector's edition for a moment, because this is it's priced astonishingly.
In my head, I've got £750.
It's about 700 quid, isn't it? Something like that.
$750.
$750. Okay.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, that's 10 books.
Yeah.
Right.
And 5 packets of handouts, all in slipcases, and we've pulled out all the stops on those, so they're lots of foil stamping and gorgeous design and bookmarks and page edges.
Sounds gorgeous.
Printed, and so that they are they're pretty fancy, but they're not cheap. I mean, I tend to because you can spend all the money on doing collector's edition stuff, and I love that stuff. I've always had a soft spot for really nicely put together books. I love the Folio Society. Their covers.
We've got like the little bookmarks in it as well, like the threads. That's nice.
I do have a soft spot for that, but also, I know what it's like trying to save up for stuff like that as well. So I always try to aim for it's absolutely a luxury, but I tend to aim to keep to a budget of no more than twice as much as the standard. So that's kind of like the budget that I work with. And to be honest, we overspend on those, but we keep it to that sort of no more.
I think it might be competing for maybe the most expensive RPG product, discounting tables and furniture and stuff. It beats Invisible Sun. That's about about 500 or so, was it?
Yeah,
I think.
What was that? Like absolute doorstop of a thing. It's like from the mid 2000s, like the biggest dungeon ever.
The world's largest dungeon.
The world's largest dungeon. That was
only like $99 though. That wasn't.
No,
Yeah, it's about $100. It's not. And then of course there's Monty Cook's Tollis thing.
Tollis, yeah.
But that again isn't
that was huge, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, 10 adventures and 5 packets of handouts and all that other stuff for $750. When you break it down, you realise you're talking sort of like,
about $35 a book. It's pretty reasonable, actually, for a really nice book as described. So,
yeah. It's there's a lot of it. I mean, it's 5. We bundled it up in one thing because, if people are going to be investing with us to that extent, then I didn't want to make them click like 15 times. So we bundled up the full set. I mean, as well, I didn't want to get people into the position where if we just did it one collector's edition, one volume at a time, you'd be so. Imagine if you missed out on part 5.
Yeah.
You were away. It's just no, that makes me feel crazy.
Yeah. And then you're starting to eBay it, and you find it £750 just for that one part.
Yeah, definitely. So absolutely, it is a load of money, but I wanted to give people the opportunity to not risk missing out on a bit, because that would be.
Does sound gorgeous though. Fantastic. Is that coming out in the same sort of time scale as the others, or is that coming out late?
Yeah, same time scale.
Yeah.
So that'll be sort of out part by part as it's released.
I always think Enemy Within is one of those campaigns that if you have to make a Netflix TV show of one, that would be on the short list.
Oh yes,
I think
definitely.
That, Dragonlance, Masks of Miala La 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 Photep.
The horror that cannot be named.
Yeah. There's definitely a short list though, I think, of things that I would love to see, given that treatment.
Definitely. I think that would be that'd be fantastic, wouldn't it? Dragonlance got a cartoon, I seem to remember.
Which one has?
Dragonlance, wasn't there an animated?
Oh yeah, it was an animated film. Yeah, less said about that, the better.
Kick some dirt over it and move on. Really,
it exists. We'll acknowledge its existence and move on.
Begrudgingly.
Anyway, we do have to jump into the future very, very quickly because we've got 40k to talk about.
Yep.
Yes.
We have
Wrath and Glory.
Wrath and Glory. Is it Wrath or Wrath?
Wrath and Glory.
Because it's Wrath of Khan, isn't it?
Yes.
Wrath of Khan.
Wrath and Glory.
Wrath of Khan. Wrath of Khan. I don't know.
I think one of them's the American version and one's British, I think, isn't it? I can't remember which way round it is.
I think Wrath is the noun and Wrath is the adjective.
Okay.
I don't think that's
I'm wrath with you would mean I'm angry with you. Feel my wrath would indicate that.
No, you're talking about Wrath as in a different word. Yeah, but there's two pronunciations of W-R-A-T-H. One's American, one's British. Wrath and Wrath. Oh. Yeah.
What's that, lad?
There you go. Not that that's relevant at all to this conversation, but so where are we on 40k then? That's got to be
so close. Yes, yeah, we're that one will be seeing a PDF release shortly. As he says, avoiding dates.
So we've got all these things that are literally just weeks away, just like tantalisingly just over the horizon.
I know, just because someone was mean to me 5 years ago about release dates.
Yeah, sorry about that. I
didn't want to bring it up.
And that dragon meat when I was throwing rotten tomatoes at you.
Yeah, I know. They hurt. They sting, Ross. They sting.
So with Wrath and Glory, it's a game where you can play as a Space Marine or an Imperial Guardsman.
Yeah, there's a huge broad range of characters. Yeah. So the difference with Wrath and Glory, it's kind of like the story of what happens in an Imperial system when it's cut off. The Cicatrix Maledictum has opened up, which is a big breach between the warp and the real universe.
The material, what we laughingly call reality. Yeah.
Indeed. And so you've got the Imperium of Man, which has been in existence for was it 10,500 years? It's
something like I don't know when the Wrath and Glory thing is set, but you've got what's it? First Crusades was what, the 30Ks, the 30,000?
Yeah, so the Great Crusades, 30K. So you're it's a very established place. There's a lot of fear keeping people in place, fear of threats, internal and external, and the weight of thousands of years of tradition. And then all of a sudden,
it's really a parody of like the fascist mindset, where it's all about the total control and technology is just not understood. It's all treated by like people waving their hands and praying to the machines.
Technology is essentially religion.
Yes.
But that's all been, with being cut off from all of that, and being cut off from the psychic kind of system of beacons, the Astronomicon, which is how people get around, how people navigate. All of that's gone. You're just suddenly, this system is cut off on its own. Yes. And simultaneously, with the opening of this big rift, there's huge demonic incursions and lots of horrible gribblies pour out of the room and attack everything. And so you had this very traumatic event. You've got the system that was once part of a huge galactic empire suddenly could be on its own. It doesn't know if anybody else is alive. It doesn't know if the rest of the Imperium is still there. So there's what do they do? What happens next? The only thing they know is that a rogue trader has somehow made it through the rift. Nobody else can get in or out. This rogue trader, Jackal Veronius, has appeared, and he assures people that it's all still there. It's all still there. Yeah, you still got to behave. You still got to do what you're told. We need to keep to our original structures. And I pretty much run this place now. So you still got the Imperiums, the governor, the Clan governor, the Lord Militant, and people like that there. But everything has changed. And whereas with 40Ks, the old standby line is it's an enormous place, and whatever happens to you, you won't be missed. It's kind of inverted in the Gilead system, which is the system that you're in. People are a finite resource now. Everything is a finite resource now. They were so interdependent on the interstellar trade that there is a forge world, thankfully, within the system, but can that produce all of the tech that they need? Who knows? Certainly the agri world can't produce enough food to feed everybody. There's a lot of these tensions.
Right.
And because you've got this kind of breakdown, then you've got people working together more than you ever have before. So, you could have your adventuring party could be an inquisitor or inquisitorial agent or an acolyte. They could have been maybe the rogue trader has tasked them with sorting out this thing, assigned them a space marine. They could be that they've got the muscle of one space marine allocated to them. There is a chapter trapped in there with them, the Absolvers, and part of when the rogue trader arrived, he arrived with some reinforcements of the new Primaris type space marines as well. So he's brought them reinforcements because they were sorely depleted. Yeah, so you've got a very broad base for the adventuring party to draw from. There's also some Eldari characters as well, and some Orc characters. There's some little bits, and we'll be doing some more of those later on, when we get a bit more into the line. So it's really interesting. I think it's very it poses some different questions to the usual 40K role playing, and that slightly different setup of everybody's having to just scrabble together and get through with what they've got. And work together a lot more than perhaps they would in other parts.
So talking of the line as a whole, that gives me two questions then. So one is there a campaign planned or series of adventures planned to go along with the core rule book that players can sort of dive into?
Yes, so there is a book of adventures that are coming out shortly after the core book. And we're working on some PDF adventures as well.
Cool.
Will be very, very quick. So we've got a lot of support planned as well, and a good chunk of it's in a good state.
And talking about support, is that all going to be sort of limited to the Wrath and Glory sort of subsection of Warhammer 40k, or are you going to be spreading beyond that at all?
So to start with, we're focusing on Wrath and Glory and the Gilead sector.
Yeah. Is that just sort of what the license is just for that?
No. That's our initial focus.
Sure. Okay. Fair enough. All right then. Is there anything else you wanted to cover while we're here?
I think we've covered everything.
We've covered a lot. we've done well today, I think.
Yeah.
We've definitely covered a lot. Anything else coming up for Cubicle 7 that we haven't mentioned? Any Doctor Who stuff coming?
No, I think we've covered. All that well. Yeah. Good.
Lovely. Perfect.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so thank you so much for coming on, Don. It's been an absolute pleasure. You're welcome on any time again to talk about anything Cubicle 7 or anything else you want to talk about, really. Just
thank you very much.
Life in Ireland.
Yes.
We'll sign off for today. So that'll be goodbye for me, Russ.
It's goodbye from me, Peter Coffey, from the Southampton Guild of Roleplayers.
And goodbye from me, Dominic McDowall, from Cubicle 7 and State.
Apparently I now have to read this to you. This is the official podcast of Morris's unofficial tabletop RPG news, which you can find at enworld.org. You can find show notes at morris.podbean.com or wherever you found the podcast. If you feel like they deserve it, you can support the show on Patreon. In return, you will receive exclusive bonus content. Just go to patreon.com/Morris. If you're interested in his babbling nonsense, you can follow at Morris on the Twitter. Send your emails to morrispodcast@gmail.com. Not all of your emails, just the ones you want us to see. That's it. I'm bored now. You can go away. Shoo, off you go. Goodbye. Get out of here.